Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Zach McGinnis, and soon to be joining us in the broadcast booth is Jack O'Mara, as tonight is round two between the best in each division, the Danbury Hat Tricks hosting the Carolina Thunderbirds. Last night it was a dramatic affair in which the Carolina Thunderbirds came back from down 6-2 to force overtime and then a shootout which only featured one goal, that being Casper Deerson's in the 7th round to cinch a victory for the Danbury Hat Tricks. And Zach, what a dramatic performance that was for the Danbury Hat Tricks. 59 saves from their netminder Dylan Kelly, and all it took was one shootout goal to be all the difference between heartbreak and delirium.
Well, I think the story of the game, Casey, is the fact that Danbury at one point had a 6-2 lead, and the Carolina Thunderbirds, they were able to claw back. They got a few goals in the second period. In the third period, they entered the third period down 6-4. They tie it with around 5-6 minutes remaining, and Carolina threw everything that they could at Dylan Kelly and the Danbury Hat Tricks. Danbury was able to escape with the 2 points. I want to see a stronger defensive game from them. You can't give up over 60 shots, especially against the first-place Carolina Thunderbirds.
Well, you mentioned it, because Carolina is the most dominant puck possession team in the FPHL, and they themselves got some spectacular goaltending as well, even though the Thunderbirds really from the halfway point of the game on completely controlled the pace of play. Jake Mullen did his bit to keep the team in the game when all seemed to be lost. When it was 6-2, could have been very easy to fold up the tent. Mullen did his best to keep the Thunderbirds around. Absolutely.
Jake Mullen, if he saw the shot, he stopped the shot. Danbury really had to get him going from side to side. I'm reminded of Vlad Gavrick's goal, a one-timer on the power play like that. Mullen, he did his job. The Carolina defense, they need to do their job if the Thunderbirds want to win this game.
Time now for the national anthem. We'll be back in a moment with Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey. Well, a lively crowd on hand tonight as the sound of the fire engine horn down there from Section 102, as, well, everyone in the building knows what's at stake here, Zach. Billy McCreary commented after last night's game that they challenged the Danbury Hat Tricks, that it would be a playoff game, a playoff atmosphere. So it certainly felt that way on the ice and up here in the broadcast booth, and I would expect nothing different tonight. Both teams desperately trying to assert themselves as top dog in the league.
Absolutely, and you spoke with Billy McCreary, I spoke with Andre Nietzsche. Both of them would not be surprised if this turned out to be the Commissioner's Cup final. We'll see what happens. There's still plenty of hockey to be played during this season, but it's no surprise and it's no accident that these teams are atop the Eastern and Western divisions respectively.
Starting lineup first for the visiting Carolina Thunderbirds. On defense, they will have Stan Vlasov, no stranger to the Danbury area. He'll be paired alongside Viktor Grebenikov. On the forward line, they will have Jan Salak alongside Mike Henrici and Peter Panachik. And in goal, they will have number 30, Jake Mullen. Starting lineup now for your Danbury hat tricks. They will have on the forward lines Carter Shinkarik with Shane Morrissey. Shinkarik had himself a hat trick. Morrissey a couple of assists. And Casper Dearson, who potted the shootout winner. On defense, they will have number 44, Steve Brown, alongside number 11, Steve Mealy, back in the lineup after missing a couple of games with an illness. And back in goal for the Danbury hat tricks will be number 29, Dylan Kelly, as part of your Ameriprise Financial goaltending matchup of the game. Kelly comes in with a 9-4-0 record, a .903 save percentage, and .357 goals against average. Stopped 59 shots last night. And he's got himself a new battery mate here tonight, Zach, because Nick Nieder, ordinarily the backup for the Danbury hat tricks, called up to the Reading Royals in the ECHL. So Matt Voidy, the goaltending coach, will dress as the emergency backup.
It's rare when you have both teams utilizing an emergency backup goaltender. Carolina has Kelly Curl, normally paired up with Drew Blevins on the Carolina broadcast. We've got Matt Voidy, the Danbury goaltending coach. It's the second time that Danbury this year has had to utilize the emergency backup goaltender, as Tom McGuckin is still in the SPHL, and Nick Nieder, good on him, his second call up to the ECHL. It speaks wonders of what kind of a player Nick Nieder is. We wish him the best of luck up there, and well, let's see if the backup goaltenders have to do anything other than just sit pretty and open a door every now and then.
So the Danbury hat tricks will be skating from left to right on your YouTube screen. They'll be donning their alternate orange jerseys with black and white trim. Carolina wearing their road whites. And the man sitting currently in the faceoff dot, Peter Panachik, is a marked man, one would assume, because Panachik drew the ire of the hat tricks bench last night by getting initially stopped on the shootout, and then he banged home a rebound, which is, in the world of hockey, a do not do on the top of that list.
No, the only time
no-no.
That's ever been allowed was the first time the shootout was in the NHL All-Star competition. You know who scored on a rebound in that shootout? Wayne Gretzky.
Well, even though a Gretzky has played in the Hat City, Brent Gretzky used to play for the Danbury Trashers back in the day. There's nobody wearing a Gretzky sweater here tonight. So we will see perhaps how the physicality evolves over the course of the evening, as Carter Shinkarik will carry it up the ice for the hat tricks. His shot goes off the stick of Vlasov and up into the netting, and we'll get an early stoppage of play 30 seconds in.
What struck me after Panachik scored on the rebound, it didn't count obviously, but that really put Dylan Kelly into a different world. Mm-hmm. You saw after every save, he was chirping the Carolina players. He certainly had an opinion to share with them, and he was very happy to get the shootout victory.
And we talked with Billy McCurry after the game. He said, that is quintessential DK in speaking about his goaltender, because he knows that his netminder, when the spotlight is on him, gets very fiery. Dylan Kelly is a competitor to a T. Puck goes behind the Carolina net. It will pop out to the far side, where Chad Herron will fumble with it a bit. Now gets it back to C.J. Blaska, playing in his second game as a member of the Carolina Thunderbirds. Johnny Ruiz gets a stick on the puck. Vlad Gavrik, a natural winger playing defense this weekend, crosses it over to Cruz Listmeyer. Phil Bronner will one-hand it into the zone. Holt will retrieve behind the Carolina net. Kasich, Bolin Porter, and number 17, Colin Edwards, who is in turn playing his second game as a member of the Danbury Hat Tricks, out there for Danbury. Edwards, Massachusetts native, who last played for the William Patterson Pioneers in 2017-18.
Oh, go ahead.
He put up 67 points in 27 games his senior season.
He did, and before that, he was at UMBC, where he put up 80-some-odd points in just about the same amount of games. It's rare that you see a player play for 5 different colleges over his collegiate career.
It is unique, to say the least. He's the Lee Stempniak of the college game. Klinetsky wires it down low. A wrist shot snatched out of the air by Dylan Kelly. So an early test, and the first shot on goal is a good one for Carolina. That came off the stick of Mike Henrici, who himself had a goal last night.
I like the patience showed by Klinitsky there, because he can take the shot, but rather he sees Henrici at the top of the slot, and he's open. He's free. Give it to him. Let him have a go.
Faceoff will be to the left of Dylan Kelly. It is won by the Thunderbirds, and Salak's shot trickles through the arm of Kelly, but he falls on it before it crosses the goal line.
Well, we saw Carolina's first goal yesterday sneak through Dylan Kelly in a somewhat similar fashion. good for the Hat-Tricks that it didn't repeat from last night.
Once more a face-off win for the Thunderbirds, who were dominant on the dot in the later goings of last night's contest. It led to a lot of offensive zone chances, and we saw it in overtime as this one gets touched up for ice, and we saw it in overtime especially when the Thunderbirds had 4 shots on goal to Danbury's zilch.
Yeah, Danbury had nothing on net in the overtime period, and they didn't look bad. You know, they won the opening faceoff. Steve Brown held on to the puck. Carter Shinkarik and Shane Morrissey, they had their opportunities, but they never actually got one on goal. Meanwhile, Dylan Kelly, as you mentioned, had to stand tall in his own net, and then 7 saves in the shootout.
A face-off win for Danbury, but Mealy is glued against the wall by Panachik. He gets it back now to Vladislav Gavrik. Gavrik looking up the gut of the ice. A quick one-touch pass by Shinkarik leads Morrissey. Now back to Dearson in the slot. Dearson gets a shot off, fought off by Mullen. Dearson had a stick in his midsection while he fired that one off.
He had a stick in his midsection and the puck in his skates.
An awkward angle, but still able to get it to the 6x4. Here's Mealy at the blue line. Banks it off the midboards, looking for Dearson down low. It's taken away by Vlasov, who skates behind his net for safety and flips it down the length of the ice. Mealy got a glove on it, so they will deem no icing as he's back to retrieve. Mealy will hold on to it and leave it for Johnny Ruiz, who will lead the breakout. Ruiz had himself a pair of goals last night, something of a coming-out party for Johnny Ruiz. Had himself a power play goal for the first time, and I'm sure for Ruiz what felt like an eternity.
Well, yeah, Johnny Ruiz, he was the hottest player beginning of the season for Danbury. He gets rewarded with a call-up to the SPHL, and then once he got sent back, didn't get much going.
Cangelosi is tied up in front by Nikola Levesque. Cangelosi had a redirection in front on Dylan Kelly. And Nikola Levesque is no stranger to confrontation at Danbury Arena. He's the player assistant coach for the Danbury Hat-Tricks, and he subscribes to the old school train of thought where he knows that if there's anyone that's going to answer the bell, it's going to have to be him, Phil Bronner, Steve Brown. He goes to that old school.
Well, he's old school because he's willing to answer the bell regardless of what happens. But Levesque, he's one of the highest scorers on this team. Danbury's not served well with him dropping the gloves. He's better out on the ice.
Levesque will carry it up on the left wing. He's got Ruiz with him trying to get around Holt. He does. Levesque with a look to the net, shanks it high and wide. Tried to pick a corner as Mullen was down. Now picking it up and carrying it ahead is Cangelosi. He's got a man in the slot looking for Heron, can't connect. Now Martin, who opened the scoring last night, gets it down low to Heron. Pitch and catch along the far side wall. Trying to dance around Bronner. Good stick check by Phil Bronner to get it up the left wing to Levesque. Just about 4 minutes into this first period, no scoring. An improvement over last night for the Danbury Hat-Tricks, who allowed a goal within a minute 20 seconds.
Yeah, nice to, keep the goose eggs up on the board for a couple minutes.
If only for a moment, because the Goose Eggs were certainly not up there for long on either side. Carter Shinkarik found the back of the net just over 4 minutes into last night's contest.
Well, that's been Danbury's MO, is the ability to respond. They had to do it yesterday. It's even more fun when you don't have to respond. You get the early lead.
Connor Haas takes a check from Cruz Listmeyer. Haas had himself a pair last night. Bolin Porter kisses it off the glass and sends it out into the neutral zone where Klinitsky will settle it down. Klinitsky looking for Grametikov. It's out of his reach, and this one will be an icing assessed against the Carolina Thunderbirds, and the Hat-Tricks will get an ozone draw.
Well, not a bad start for Danbury, but they've only recorded 1 shot on goal as we're 4:35 into this first period, and no surprise, this seemingly top line now of Carter Shinkarik, Shane Morrissey, and Casper Dearson tasked with the offensive draw.
Face-off will be to the right of Jacob Mullen. It is won by the Hat-Tricks, but Morrissey is unable to field the puck cleanly, so Kenny Garrett will be back to retrieve. Garrett glides to his left, has Grabenikov in front of him. Puck bounces off of Grabenikov's skates, and that springs a 2-on-1. Here's now Panachik, stops short. Panachik squares to the net, hits it off the glass. Elected not to pass across the way to Grabenikov, and now the net is knocked off its mooring.
Well off. But that's one thing, speaking about who the first line is for this Danbury Hat-Tricks team right now, you look at the point distribution, both on Danbury and Carolina, I think it's not a coincidence that they have much more balanced scoring than some of these other teams. Take a look at Elmira, where their first line, Ahmed Mahfouz, one of the leaders in the league for scoring, recently acquired Tyler Jurich. He's up there as well. Those teams are very top-heavy. Port Huron's another good example of a team that's very top-heavy, whereas Danbury and Carolina, the scoring's much more evenly distributed.
It's a lock strip from behind by Casper Dearson, which draws applause from the Hat-Tricks faithful. Up to Stan Vlasov. Vlasov starts the breakout, which was highly effective last night for Carolina. They were able to move the puck seemingly at will. Salak finds Vlasov, high slot. Shot was blocked in front by Listmayer, and it goes wide. 5.5 into the first. Still searching for our first strike. Panachik is run against the boards by Listmayer. Listmayer, a big body for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. 6'3", 201, the Winnipeg native. Salak feeds it out in front. Kasich breaks up the pass, and Kelly pounces on the loose puck.
Great job by Kasich to break up that pass. I believe it was Henrici sneaking on in. And if Kasich doesn't get a stick on that, it's an easy goal.
You're all right, and Kasich was in back deep for a natural winger. He's planting himself right in front of the net, and that's what the Hat-Tricks had to do in the later goings of last night. They had to collapse in on Kelly to prevent what was an onslaught of offensive chances for Carolina. Turning around and shooting off the side of the net is Martin. Martin holds now in the far side corner, trying to spin away from Mealy. He cycles it down low, looking for Heron. Heron is the first to retrieve. He's got Brown bearing down on him, and the boards rattle, but the puck is kept alive by Carolina. Now Ruiz gets a stick on it and leads Levesque. It's knocked off his blade for a moment. Martin still trying to one-hand it. Carolina doing a terrific job of getting sticks in the lane as Mullen will grab it out of the air and leave it now for Blaska. Getting to it first is Ruiz, who tries to chip it down low. Blaska picks it up now. Now a turnover. Mealy has Levesque with him. Mealy across the way to Levesque. Can't field it cleanly. Pass was just out in front of number 61. Now Mealy will play the perimeter. Has Gavrik at the center of the blue line. Shinkarik at the near side circle. Shinkarik fumbles with the puck. Any FPHL fan that's watching the game right now can relish in the fact that a team from Elmira was the loser in that one. Here's Gavrik cutting to his right, looking to the net, paddled aside by Mullen. It goes up off the glass, but not out of play. Kept alive by Gavrik, has Dearson in the high slot. Gavrik evading a couple of different checkers, has Dearson out in front, stopped by Mullen. Mullen glued his leg pads down to the ice. Over by the Hat-Tricks bench now, picked up by Shinkarik. Leads Morrissey, and he steps in just offsides, and we get a stoppage of play. 7 minutes and 24 seconds gone by. As welcome to the broadcast booth, Mr. Jack O'Mara.
Thank you, guys.
A busy evening here tonight. It's a terrific contingent. A lot of promotions going on tonight here in Danbury Arena. It seems like a lively atmosphere.
A lot. There's a lot of great stuff. Youth sports in town. Auto Worker Appreciation Night. Casey, you've been heading those two groups very, very well. Great contingent between the two departments, and a ton of great fans here tonight. Really good crowd.
And as good a crowd as we have here tonight, tomorrow looks like it might be even bigger.
Well, tomorrow there is the old Jamaica trip giveaway going on at Danbury Arena. Wear your finest green, yellow, and black, and you can be entered to win a 3-night stay, all expenses paid.
I have my outfit picked out for it.
Loose puck out in front, looking for Kasich at the near side post, and it goes between his wickets. Now here's Krivolovic. Back to Steve Brown as the Thunderbirds go off for a change. A little bit of open space. Kasich is run into, but Bullen Porter picks it up, and a long slap shot is blockered aside easily by Mullen. Bullen Porter has it in his skates. Thunderbirds force it out. Here's Stanislav Bakur entering in on the left side. Squares to the net. Snuck one by the glove of Dylan Kelly, but wide of the net mouth. Edwards will go off for a change rather than play the puck, so Vlasov will retreat into his own end. Carolina once more controlling the pace of play as here's Heron sending it in deep. Gavrik has Salak on it. Carolina did such a terrific job last night, guys, of keeping that puck in deep into the hat-trick zone. It forced Danbury into a lot of long shifts, especially in the second period with the long change.
Yeah, absolutely. They were just doing a really good job at just beating the tricks to the puck, and then they couldn't get out of the zone. Good hold at the blue line and made good plays.
2-on-1 developing now, though, as here's Levesque with Bronner. Listmayer, the trailer, looking for Bronner to Listmayer. He fanned on the shot. Yawning net mouth, and the defender couldn't get the stick on it. And Bronner had the big body of Mullen in front of him, a savvy pass. Shinkarik will dance into the offensive zone, but they will deem him offsides. And we get a stoppage, 9:06 to go, and that is a frustrating play for Cruz Listmayer, who you feel for. He feels snake-bitten at this point because there were a couple of exits last night that were less than pretty, to say the least, from Listmayer.
Less than pretty. He found himself in the penalty box as well. And you don't normally see Cruz Listmayer jump up into the play like that. Not as rare as, say, Ken Danico jumping into the play, but you don't normally expect to see Listmayer as the trailer. He does a good job getting into the play. Bronner recognizes it, gives it over to him, but the puck jumps up in the air, and Listmayer can't find the back of the net.
Well, that is what we mentioned, the choppy ice that's still out there. Zamboni can only do so much here at Danbury Arena, as entering in is Cangelosi in the high slot, hits off the knob of the stick of Dylan Kelly and goes into the near side corner. Blasco wiring it down low, but it's intercepted, and off to the races goes Morrissey as he leads Dearson. Partial breakaway for Dearson as the pass was just out of his reach, and he takes a hard check from behind by Blasco. Dearson flicks it towards the net. Morrissey got a stick on it, as did Shinkarik. Shinkarik has Dearson setting up in front of the netminder, out to Mealy. Mealy squares to the net. That one's bobbled for a moment, but held by Mullen.
Yeah, you guys have probably talked about it, but the re-addition for Steve Mealy to be in the lineup tonight is going to be so huge, especially with now Billy McCreary out for the game with the upper body injury. It's those plays like that, smart positioning, good shot attempt, smart with the puck. He's going to be a great addition over the next couple of games. He could stay healthy for this weekend for Danbury. It's going to help increase their chances to get victories.
Springing now Krivalovic. On the near side midboard, spinning around, looking to the net, saved by Kelly. Rebound is kicked out by Bolin Porter. Now Gavrik with a saucer pass that finds the stick of Kasich, who dumps it in deep. Bolin Porter will race ahead. Takes a stick from Jake Kenny. Kasich behind the end line. Spinorama pass out in front. No one was there. Bolin Porter will send it out to an area, but Brown was not at the point. He's instead just coming onto the ice after a change. Now Gavrik will hold deliberately with Grebenikov spinning away from him. And one of the men that was just on the ice there for Carolina was Jay Kenny, and Jay Kenny played a black and blue game last night and was one of the Thunderbirds players involved in the good-natured jawing that was transpiring between the two benches. Expect him to be a big physical presence for the Thunderbirds today.
And black and blue is the right way to put it, but like Cruz Listmayer, Kenny found himself in the penalty box twice last night. Danbury was very good on the power play. He has to play a bit more disciplined. He's the kind of player who plays on the edge and maybe take a half step back and don't put your team down a man.
Quick passing finds the stick of Panachik, but it goes over towards the Hat Tricks bench and sent back towards Carolina's end, where Vlasov will retreat. Looking up ice, surveying the field, awaiting options. He will now seek refuge behind the net.
You know, Casey, you mentioned how Danbury fans would be happy about Elmira losing at the junior level. I think the Carolina fans might agree with you there.
Well, Carolina is a bit more intimate with Elmira, seeing as that was the Commissioner's Cup matchup last season, which the Carolina Thunderbirds were able to come away with the championship trophy, which was in the house last night here at Danbury Arena. Fans got a glimpse at potentially the matchup in late April, but also the trophy where all eyes are on the prize last night and all this weekend. Long stretch pass intended for Martin as he was cherry picking at the blue line. Hopped over his stick. Cangelosi with a back pass trailing. Slapper by Holt. Rattles way wide. But a wonky bounce off the Zamboni doors finds its way between the hash marks. Martin now at the near side post. Feed out in front. Blocked in front. I believe Shinkarik got a piece of that one.
Yeah, Shinkarik had his stick right in the shooting lane. Huge block there. He essentially adds as an extra goaltender.
Here's Dearson on the right wing. Now to Shinkarik in the high slot. Shinkarik has it blocked in front. Bouncing puck goes into the near side corner. Delayed call coming up, and that will be a penalty against the Carolina Thunderbirds.
Well, 7:31 to go here in the first period, and we get our first look at the special teams. It will be Danbury going on the power play. They come in with the second best power play in the league, converting at 23%. Carolina, they have the best penalty kill in the league at 89.8%. And Jack, special teams on special teams, it's usually good hockey.
It really is, and we saw it work a couple times and last night. We'll see here as Steve Mealy will essentially take over the role for Billy McCreary as that anchor point position in the defensive look. We'll see how it transpires today. This unit was very successful in the power play last night.
Kelly will meander behind his net to settle the puck down, where Mealy will lead the breakout. Mealy is out there with Dearson, Levesque, Bolin Porter, and Gavrik, a 5-forward unit. Here's Gavrik entering in on the left side. Bolin Porter behind the end line, leaves it now for Levesque. Spins away from a checker. Panachik and Salak are the two penalty kill forwards. Vlasov and Bakor, the defenders, as it is cleared out. Minute 30 to go in the power play. Less than 7 minutes of play remaining in the first period. Still looking for our first score.
Carolina very aggressive on their penalty kill, especially in the defensive end. They're keeping their shift short, too, to keep the legs fresh. Only 30 seconds on that shift.
Ruiz has a swarm of bodies around him, but the puck still finds its way in towards the near side midboards. Kasich keeping alive. Here's Bronner with Ruiz lurking on the back door looking for him. Pass was just too high for his stick. Halfway through the power play, down low for Bronner, has his stick lifted. Morrissey will field. Bronner setting the screen in front, out to Shinkarik. Quick passing now to Kasich in the slot. His shot! He scores! Matthias Kasich with a power play goal. The Hat-Tricks lead 1-0.
Here come the Carrots. Matthias Kasich scoring from that bumper position. Great puck movement by Danbury. It finds Kasich in the slot. I think Mullen was expecting another pass, and Kasich wires one home.
That's what you want from your power play, guys. Getting the puck one direction, one end of the boards, going to the other. Just perfect passing around the umbrella, and then to get it into Kasich in the slot. For him to get that shot away, it's not an easy shot because he's got to turn his whole body and get the quick wrister away. Good location with the shot, good positioning, perfect power play movement. See, all the players have to clean up some carrots. Couple more than last night. We had a better contingent of carrots on the ice. No real ones, however.
That is true. Well, you also have the benefit of the first goal coming a bit later in the contest as well. At least fans got to wait 13 minutes and 42 seconds before finding the back of the net.
And it does have a different first period feel. Obviously, the Hat-Tricks ran away with the first period yesterday, 4 goals. Just the 1 goal here so far, but that's what you want to do. You mentioned it, Zach. It's fun to watch 2 strong special team units go head-to-head like that. Danbury gets the best of it the first go-around. Very, very good stuff from them.
And a power play goal for Kasich, and you want all hands to be on deck. Kasich hadn't scored in a while. Kasich is a very streaky scorer, where at one point in the season he had 5 goals in 5 games. Then he went dormant for 3 games. Then he had a 3-game goal-scoring streak. Then he went dormant for 4 games. Now, if he can continue to find and evolve the back of the net, I mean, that's a big addition for the Hat-Tricks if they can get more involvement offensively.
You look at how strong they are, guys. Secondary scoring has been the definition of this season. It's been all, I mean, we've had a couple of different top scorers on this team. Johnny Ruiz for a while. Now it's Carter Shinkarik. Gordy Bonnell was up there for a while. There's no, again, one guy who's going to just take over a game. It's all these different contributors. If Matthias Kasich starts to get settled in again and goes on a good streak here, I mean, that's when you really can't stop this offense.
Holt takes a step in. His shot is blocked by Steve Mealy. And for the Danbury Hat-Tricks power play, it is their 3rd power play goal of the series. Is now a shot by Heron, goes off the side of the net. And that's most impressive because they're taking it to what is the best penalty kill by far in the FPHL. They came into the series with a 91% success rate, and they've allowed 3 different power plays. 3 different power play goals, I should say. Carrying it up is Vlasov in front of his own bench. Crosses the red line and dumps it in deep. Kelly will be back to paddle it. Takes a check from Salak and trying to keep the puck alive as Kelly gets support from his defense and is able to meander back towards the blue paint.
Don't usually see the goalie back there for that long.
Well, Dylan Kelly, I'm sure, after a fiery night last night, licking his chops at the chance to throw his weight around. Into the Carolina zone, Levesque in deep. Takes a check, holds the puck, has Shinkaruk behind the net. Gavrik in the high slot. Out to Listmayer, rifles one towards the net. That one's fought off by Mullen. Dearson backhands it down low for Levesque. Panachik takes it away, gets it over to the far side midboards, where a trickling puck will find the stick of Henrici. Panachik is collided into and out in the neutral zone. Dearson takes the puck away. Dearson trying to drag it over to his backhand, taken away by Carolina. Now across the red line is Henrici. He leads Salak. Back pass Henrici has Panachik in front of the net. Shot attempt is blocked by Brown as he goes tumbling down to the ice. Now Shinkaruk on the left wing with less than 4 minutes to play in the first period. Shinkaruk looks to the net. He scores! An absolute snipe by Carter Shinkaruk. It's 2-0 Danbury.
You know how I know that was a good goal? Because Jake Mullen is in his stance. Shinkaruk scores. Mullen is still there looking behind him, wondering how the heck did that get past my glove and tuck inside the post. What a shot by Carter Shinkaruk.
Well, you can call him the Canadian sniper. I mean, that is an unbelievable shot right there, and his scope on that stick right now is just unbelievable. Finding its way into the back of the net once again. Is there anybody hotter, not on this team, in the league right now than Carter Shinkaruk?
Shinkaruk is on now a 5-game goal-scoring streak, and in 2 of those 5 games, he's got a hat trick. And still plenty of time for Shinkaruk to add to that because he has a propensity for multi-goal outings.
I'm getting nervous, guys. Carter Shinkaruk was in the SPHL last year. He keeps this up. I don't know how much longer he'll be in Danbury.
Well, the Danbury Hat-Tricks do lead the league in SPHL call-ups. They do have 8 to their name as we get a stoppage in play, and we have finally reached the media timeout. This was a trend yesterday as well, where play is just so continuous and so hectic that you forget that at the halfway point of every period here in Danbury, you get a minute 30 timeout. And by the time we've reached the 3.5-minute mark here in the first period, oh yeah, we have to take a break.
Oh yeah, hey, let's take this break right before intermission. But you know, you take a look at the way these games have been going. Yes, lots of action out there, not many whistles, and the whistles that we have had are either on icings, penalties, or goals. Now, penalties, you can take the media timeout. I'm not sure if the off-ice crew is fully aware of that, and I'm in no mood to tell them right now. But, you know, on the icing, you can't take the media timeout. On a goal, you're not going to take it. Maybe it's a game for these guys. We'll see how far into a period we can go. Let's see if we can go a period without the media timeout.
Face-off will be to the right of Dylan Kelly. While we have a moment to breathe, we want to remind you to follow the Danbury Hat-Tricks at Danbury Hat-Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for live game streams as well as exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, highlights, interviews, and more. And be sure to join our mailing list at danburyhattricks.com. Face-off will be won by the Thunderbirds. Klinitsky looks to the net, sends it wide. Mealy has Haas on him in the corner. Haas sending it out to an area, but Dearson was puck hawking. Dishes it to Morrissey, chipping it ahead, intended for Shinkaruk. Shinkaruk has Krivolovec on him. Krivolovec will carry it across the blue line, now slides it over to his right to Grebennikov. Grebennikov to the net. That one's swallowed up by Kelly. That was just underneath his chin.
I like that shot by Grebennikov. The release on that was so fast. Dylan Kelly needed to be aware.
He's been solid last night. He's solid so far the start here, and that's what you need if you're Carolina. Those quick shots like that, quick entries. Very, very good sequence there. Now you have a little bit of some time here, win the draw.
Blasco with a shot that's blocked in front by his own man. That was Cangelosi. Now taken away by Levesque. Levesque with a man to beat. Can he outrace Blasco? Backhander fought off by Mullen. Another setup in front by Ruiz was fumbled. And Levesque with a partial breakaway. Now with 2:40 remaining in the first period. Gavrik holding on, flips it out towards the neutral zone. Shots on goal currently 10-8 in favor of the Danbury Hat-Trick, seemingly the first time this entire series that they have led in the shots on goal battle, because by this point last night, guys, the Carolina Thunderbirds had already reached the 20-shot mark.
Well, a bit of a different game for both teams so far, and I'm sure the goaltenders don't exactly mind it.
Well, you see the emphasis on defensive play. Guys aren't really letting breakouts happen too much. The shots are coming in. The blocks are racking up as well. Much better defensive game for both sides.
You were saying?
Gavrik strips at the blue line, and here's Cangelosi. He's got Martin to his right, knocked away by Listmeyer. Active stick by number 4 as Cruz Listmeyer is able to prevent that break-in. But now a taken away, and a shot that's into the elbow of Dylan Kelly, and he holds. 1:47 to go in the first period.
Well, Dan Martin, Casey, as you mentioned, he started the scoring for Carolina last night. He has another great opportunity. He has the puck below the circle, and he tries going upstairs on Dylan Kelly, but Kelly at 6'3", a big goaltender, aggressive out onto the edge of his crease, and the butterfly makes the save.
Yet another faceoff win for Carolina, already an early trend as a shot attempt goes into the padding of Kelly and he holds. I mean, it certainly seems just like Carolina, anytime they want possession of the puck, they are near unbeatable on the faceoff dot.
It'd be nice if they could share a little bit, spread the wealth around a bit.
And you know, that is such a simple statistic, guys, but it's so important in the game.
It leads to offensive chances like this one, as there's another quick shot that's held by Kelly.
I mean, you think about it, it's a 50-50 chance to get possession. And
In
they're doing, in theory, right? Right now, they're converting, it seems like every 5 of 6, 6 of 7. They're just doing a great job, and again, that leads to those shooting chances, gives you more opportunities for puck possession. Such an important part of the game that not a lot of people put emphasis on.
The 4th consecutive face-off win for the Thunderbirds is blockered out by Kelly. Salak has it and along the wall. Gets it to Vlasov at the near side midboards, has Bronner skating gingerly over towards him and one-handed out of the zone by Ruiz. The Thunderbirds will hold on to the puck, though, and retreat. Bakor crosses his own blue line, red line, motoring up the gut of the ice, squares to the net, blocked by Listmeyer, and he'll chip it into an area. Carolina the first to get there. Steve Brown now has Salak on him. Brown has 2 Thunderbirds. Ruiz trying to clear some space for the big fella behind the Hat-Trick's net. It's stripped away by Salak, who has been so dangerous with his stick. He's such a terrific two-way player for the Thunderbirds. 45 seconds remaining in the first period. 2-0 is your score in favor of the Hat-Tricks. Carolina trying to find an answer heading into the first intermission. Henrici out to Vlasov, his shot seen all the way by Dylan Kelly, and he holds with 33.4 to go in the first.
And the Hat-Tricks will take that all day. Perimeter passing, good presence down low, clear shooting lane from the point, easy save for Dylan Kelly with the glove.
All Carolina was missing there was Mike Henrici getting open in the slot, because with all that perimeter passing, they were doing a good job of drawing Danbury's defenders out of position.
Cleared off the face-off down the length of the ice by the Hat-Tricks. That'll tick away some precious seconds. And this one will go for an icing as it barely reaches the end line, and we'll get another offensive zone draw for the Thunderbirds. In the face-off dot for the Thunderbirds will be Connor Haas, going up against Kendall Bolin Porter. Haas has Klinetsky back at the near side point, and he wins it back to him. Klinetsky has Dearson going down onto his backside to block that pass attempt. Now Klinetsky has one last rush for the Thunderbirds if they are able to expedite things. Here's Klinetsky behind the net. Quick breakout to Haas. Has Grivalovic to his right, finds him, squares to the net, blocker save Kelly. It'll be poked out to the neutral zone, and that will do it for the opening frame. The Danbury Hat-Tricks score a pair in the opening 20 minutes, and they lead the Thunderbirds 2-0 as the Thunderbirds get a flurry of shots, 6 unanswered shots on goal in the final few minutes, and we are starting to see just how good Carolina is at controlling play in the offensive zone. It is so hard to force them back onto their heels.
Well, Casey, I thought you put it best when you talk about the face-off and how good they are in the dot. When they're winning face-offs like that, you're getting the offensive pressure. It's all starting off real nice and easy. And Danbury, to their credit, they get in the way of this, but they only clear it as far as the neutral zone. And then Carolina has somebody along the lines of Stan Vlasov ready to start the breakout once again. There's a reason why Carolina leads the league in shots, and it's not just because they played Battle Creek a few times.
Well, everyone has that luxury.
That is true. But Carolina, they outshoot Danbury by a 14-10 margin here in the first period. They aren't able to find the back of the net yet. But for Carolina, again, tighten things up defensively, stay out of the penalty box, and keep peppering Dylan Kelly. I wouldn't be surprised if they find the back of the net at some point.
Well, that'll do it here for the first period. We'll be back in a moment when the ice is cut and when the Mini Melts tricycle races are concluded.
I'm excited for this.
This is new.
You didn't see these in the office before?
Oh, I did. I was just marveling. They have metal spikes on the tires.
Yes, they do.
So that they get added grip, which is reminiscent, of course, of the Extreme Ice Racing event, the Extreme International Ice Racing, I should say, that was here
Get it right.
back in January 3rd and 4th, where you had professional motorcycle and quad racing here on Danbury Ice, which certainly did the surface no favors.
No, certainly not. And I think it took the rink a few weeks to recover from that, so to speak, because, yeah, that ice got chopped up. Usually motorcycles and quads, not the best for your rinks at home. For anybody who has an ice rink at home and wants to ride a motorcycle on it.
Well, nevertheless, we'll be back once the festivities are concluded. You're watching Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to live coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks on the Danbury Hat Tricks YouTube channel, as Danbury currently leads the Carolina Thunderbirds 2-0. But before we get going with the second period, it's time for the FPHL scoring update. Here's Zach McGinnis.
Thanks, Casey. Out in Michigan, the Port Huron Prowlers and Mentor Icebreakers have skated to a 0-0 tie. About 4 minutes remaining in the first period out there. Here's a score that you won't like, Casey. Out in New York, the Elmira Enforcers have a 1-0 lead over the Columbus River Dragons at the end of one period of play.
Darn.
Here's a score that you'll like a little bit better. 10 minutes into the first period, the Watertown Wolves and Battle Creek Rumblebees are tied at 1.
Okay, that's an improvement over the norm for Battle. I make no qualms about that.
I had to explain to my wife what stand meant. Meanwhile, out in Illinois, about to get underway, the Delaware Thunder and Danville Dashers. And right here in Danbury, it's 2-0 Danbury through one period of play. Carolina out shooting the Hat Tricks by a 14-10 margin in that first period. But Danbury finding the back of the net twice. Not bad.
So the Danbury Hat Tricks getting set for the start of the second period. And Zach, the long change proved to be difficult for Danbury yesterday. What can they do to improve on that here this evening?
Well, they need to tighten things up defensively, and you're right. They had real hard times dealing with Carolina in the second period, as Carolina mostly kept the puck, if not in Danbury's zone, on Danbury's side of the ice. By doing that, it prevented the Hat Tricks from changing. You had some tired defensemen out there. It started leading to some problems in the zone, and it's no coincidence that Carolina outscored Danbury in the second period last night. So for Danbury, they got to tighten things down. How do they tighten things down? Well, you mark your man in the zone, and you have to work on these breakouts. The breakouts have to be stronger. The neutral zone play has to be stronger. I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina went soft on their forechecking again, because they were allowing Danbury to come right out of their zone. They take the puck away and brought it right back in.
So the Hat Tricks will be skating from right to left on your YouTube screen. Down in their orange alternates, Carter Shinkarik will be out there to take the opening draw, with Morrissey to his left and Dearson to his right. Banachik in the faceoff dot opposite him, and it is won by the Hat Tricks, and seemingly their first faceoff win in quite some time in terms of regulation play, and it comes in the opening draw. But Carolina wins the puck right back, and Salak will pop it up to himself and skate into the far side corner. Has Steve Brown behind him, gets it out to Vlasov for a one-time shot that goes off the glass. Now here's Bakor wiring one towards the net, and the body was in front, but Kelly is up to the task.
Oh, good job by Kelly to get down into the butterfly, as Mike Henrici saw this shot deflect off the shaft of his stick, and suddenly it becomes a pinball down there. But again, sure, we're only 27 seconds into the second period, but this is exactly what the second period looked like yesterday. Carolina just dictating play and keeping the puck in Danbury's end.
Ruiz gets it back to Gavrik. Gavrik to Listmayer to Bronner. Taken away, and now it squibs out of the zone, and Jay Kenny will be forced to retreat. Kenny, who wears the alternate captain's A on his shoulder. And wow, a hard hit on the near side midboards, and down to the ice goes Cruz Listmayer, and he's shaken up.
Yeah, Listmayer was hit from behind. It was Connor Haas who threw the check. And Listmayer is going to need some attention from the training staff. And, well, my question is this going to be a 2-minute power play? Or we've seen 5-minute majors called for less already on this ice this season.
Listmayer himself was a victim of one that earned him a 5-game suspension earlier this year when he was called for boarding against the Watertown Wolves. And Listmayer was squashed like an insect against that boards by Haas. A hard check by Haas. And Haas, not terribly big. 5'11", 154 is what he's listed as on the roster sheet.
He plays much bigger than that.
Absolutely.
And Listmayer is able to get back to the bench under his own power. And let's see how long this power play is.
So skating over to the box will be Haas. It's just a matter of how long. You are right, Zach. But
well, here's the problem, Casey. Johnny Ruiz is going to the box as well.
Really?
Yeah, because Ruiz, after both players had gone down to the ice, Ruiz gave a shot to Haas as he was down on the ice as well. So now my question is this going to be 4-on-4 for 2 minutes and then a 3-minute major power play? Or are we going to stay 5-a-side and they just call them coincidentals?
We'll get the official announcement once it comes over the loudspeaker. Christian Gardecki, our public address announcer. As we get some deliberation between the Hat Tricks bench and the officiating crew. As an announcement over the loudspeaker from Herm Sorcher announcing the presence of NWHL Connecticut Whale captain Shannon Doyle in the house tonight. Shannon Doyle, who is raising funds tonight for her trip to the Czech Republic to represent Team Canada in the 2020 World Ball Hockey Championships. And Shannon Doyle is a heck of a player, leads the NWHL in blocked shots, and it's not close. And it's great to see Shannon here at a Hat Tricks game. Absolutely.
She's a heck of a player. She's also a teacher down in Greenwich at the Greenwich Country Day Club, the Hat Tricks. Some of the players, myself, went down there just a couple of days ago, did one of our Never Give Up assemblies, and some of the students here today supporting Shannon's fundraiser.
And right off that face-off, there was a delayed call, Zach. I didn't quite catch that.
It's Chad Herron going to the box for Carolina. He'll sit for slashing, and so we're going to have lots of open ice. It's going to be a 4-on-3 power play. Ultimately, the call, the initial call was 2 minutes apiece, so we were at 4 aside. 4 seconds later, Danbury finds themselves with a 4-on-3 power play and an opportunity to extend on their lead.
So the Hat Tricks are 1 for 1 on the power play so far this evening. Shinkarik to Dearson, one-timer, he scores! A rocket off the stick of Casper Dearson, a power play goal!
You could see the flames coming off of that as Dearson wires this one underneath the blocker of Jake Mullen. And Carolina, they have the best penalty kill in the league. That's Danbury's second power play goal tonight. It's their 4th power play goal this weekend.
And guys, look how easy it was for the Hat Tricks to just move it. And Dearson's given all that space. He takes it one time. He says, no problem, I'll rip this in. And it's just an absolute blast, and there's nothing Mullen could do to catch up with it.
See what happens when you win the face-off?
Very true, very true. Alert NASA, because that was a rocket ship off the stick of Casper Dearson. Goodness me. For Dearson, it is his 9th goal of the season, his 3rd on the man advantage, his 28th point, and as we mentioned, guys, depth scoring, so important against the Carolina Thunderbirds of all teams, and there's another player adding his name to the registry of scorers this weekend.
He's been all over the place, blocking shots, absorbing hits, and now he's cashed in on his 2nd goal in as many games. Really good weekend so far here for Casper Dearson, the Swede.
So it took only 4 seconds for that power play to convert. The Hat Tricks now 2 for 2, and we're back to 4-on-4 hockey. We saw a lot of open ice yesterday. There were a couple of 4-on-4 opportunities yesterday, and there was even some extended 3-on-3 time, which was dominated by the Thunderbirds, that being, of course, the 5-minute overtime period, and the Thunderbirds will have a delayed call. Mullen to the bench. He's got a long way to go. Finally makes it there. Krivalovic will come over the boards. As the extra skater, Salak protects the puck to Vlasov, takes a step in, feeds Salak in the high slot. His shot blocked up into the netting. And we will have a power play upcoming for the Carolina Thunderbirds for 58 seconds.
It's going to be a roughing call going against Steve Brown as he took some liberties with Peter Panacek in the corner. So Carolina goes on to the power play now, and if you're the Thunderbirds, sure, it's only 1:50 into the second period, but Jack, you'd love to get a response.
Chances. Get your ship in the right direction, because right now the Hat Tricks, being outshot, have dominated the start of this second period, dominated the start of the game.
So the Hat Tricks will be without one of their best penalty killers in Steve Brown. They will get Johnny Ruiz back in 50 seconds, but the Carolina Thunderbirds will also get Connor Haas.
There's
back.
2 pucks on the ice.
2 pucks, oh goodness.
Oh, cool. I didn't know we were playing multi-puck.
It's the bonus round.
Yes, perfect.
It's a Mario power-up.
Where there's 2 pucks and the points don't matter. Yeah. I like it.
Let's shake it up.
Start the calliope music. It's a circus.
I want to see where the other puck came from.
Yeah, that's the one I'm kind of curious
I was
about.
watching Kendall Boland Porter skate with one, and then on the other side of things, I think it was Panacek who had one as well, or Salak. I wasn't sure.
So each team had one. That sounds fair to me.
That's fair. Sharing is caring. Scrum along the far side midboards as Salak is brought down to the ice, as is Panacek. Vlad Gavrik doing a lot of work against that board, gluing a man in there, and Carolina wins the puck away. Here's Panacek. As Blaska in the high slot, they cycle it out to Vlasov. Winds and fires a slap pass to Panacek. Back 10 seconds to go in the 4-on-3 before it becomes a 5-on-4. Blaska behind the end line. Vlasov calling for it, receives. Has Boland Porter diving in front of him. 5-on-4 now for a minute. Out to the blue line and cleared by Danbury.
Yeah, Bronner, he's had a good stick all night long. Good active poke check there. Get the puck clear. He's made a couple of nice plays in this game so far.
Ruiz with the takeaway. He'll chop it towards the blue line. That kills a couple of seconds, but back in come the Thunderbirds. Panacek on the right wing. Feeds it out to the slot. Salak wires one wide. Now out to Bakor. Quick pass to Klinitsky on the near side circle. Juggles out of the zone, and that allows the Hat-Tricks to get a big kill, but it's taken away now by Bakor. Bakor entering in with some space. Ruiz bearing down on him, slides it out now for Cangelosi, tucking it home for a beauty is Connor Haas. Exquisite passing by the Carolina Thunderbirds, and they're on the board. It's 3-1.
Well, this all starts with a bad change and a bad turnover by the Danbury Hat-Trick. Steve Mealy has the puck, and head coach Billy McCreary is calling his other 3 penalty killers over to the bench. Mealy then turns the puck over at the red line. He is not successful in getting the puck deep in Carolina's zone. You have Lissmayer and Ruiz lined up as the 2 defenders, and again, tic-tac-toe passing by Carolina. We've seen that before. They find themselves on the scoreboard, and you know what, boys? Jack, you saw it. They're going to get another power play.
And this is interesting, too, because the penalty occurred while the play was going on. So essentially, a delay. If you have a delayed penalty in any situation and then a team scores, the penalty's wiped.
Well, you had the power play still for a couple of seconds left.
Exactly. So it counts as a power play goal, and then a fresh 2 minutes goes up on the board. So if Carolina had taken their time in scoring and then had managed to get it after the power play had expired, then we would be at 5 aside. But because they scored with power play time still on the board, that's the power play that gets wiped out, and Lissmayer gets to sit for a fresh 2. And Carolina, now with the momentum, they get to push it even farther.
Well, for Cruz Listmayer, that is his team leading 50th and 51st penalty minute of the season. Blaska gets it over to his left to Martin. As Holt now at the near side point, Blaska takes a step to his right, fires one towards the net. Heron was in front, got a stick on it, and it goes up into the netting. Out there for the Thunderbirds right now is Cangelosi, Martin, and Heron, with Holt and Blaska holding down the blue line. The Hat-Tricks will go off for a change. Bronner and Boland Porter will come out on the penalty kill forward unit with Kenny Garrett and Steve Brown on defense.
And Carolina might have the 5th best power play in the league, but they still convert on over 20% of their chances. You have to be more disciplined if you're the Danbury Hat-Tricks. You can't give the Thunderbirds this many opportunities.
Pitch and catch. Blaska has Boland Porter in front of him. Rifles one wide. Bronner behind the end line, sending it towards the blue line, but not out. Kept in by Martin. Takes a step in with Kenny Garrett in front of him. Daniel Martin playing the perimeter. Now is retreating from Garrett. Noise being made by the Danbury Hat-Tricks faithful. Trying to jam the communication lines. As here's Blaska with a shot through traffic. Kelly never saw it, but it didn't find Twine.
Didn't miss by much, though.
1:05 to go on the penalty as that shot is blocked in front. It goes into the far side corner. Bodies in front of Dylan Kelly as that shot is blocked in front. That one went off the midsection of Steve Brown. And Danbury is finally able to get it across their own blue line, but they're unable to get a change. Steve Brown will corral it in the near side corner. He'll buy some time. Boland Porter goes off, as does Bronner. Dearson now racing for the puck. He's the first to retrieve. He's got Levesque calling for it at the near side point. Dearson with 40 seconds to go in the power play. Picked up by Bakor. 5 minutes, 20 seconds gone by in the second period. The Thunderbirds trying to make it a one-goal game. No deficit is too big for the Thunderbirds to overcome. 15 seconds remaining in the power play. Bacour takes a step in, sends it to the net. Getting a stick on it was Henrici. But Kelly had his pad on the ice, and that will be cleared, and that will do it for the power play. Now Panachik looking across the way, finds the stick of Grebennikov. Grebennikov with a long wrist shot, sent high. Carolina once more back to work. Morrissey takes the puck away. It's in the skates of Shinkarik. He crosses the red line. Blue line drops it back for Kasich, and that will be offside. Couldn't quite time that drop pass correctly.
Now just a couple inches on the wrong side of the blue line. Keep in mind, when you go into the zone, it's the offensive edge of the blue line. That's the line of determination. Once you're in the zone, it's the defensive side of the blue line. And Shinkarik, while he left it on the blue line, he never actually entered the zone with the puck.
6 minutes flat gone by in the second period. Carolina wins a faceoff in the neutral zone, and they'll start their break out on the right side. Grebennikov is checked hard by Listmeyer. Krivalovic does battle with Brown behind the net. Now out to the point, Klinitsky. Thunderbirds trying to play keep away from the Danbury Hat-Tricks, just sending it over along the wall, trying to keep it on the outside. Now a shot sent towards the net is blocked in front. That went off of Grebennikov's legs. A bit of friendly fire on the part of the Carolina Thunderbirds. Brown has to evade the linesman, but he'll get to it and lift it down the length of the ice. This will go for an icing. As the Hat-Tricks frustrated a bit, they're just getting pinned too easily.
Well, this is what we said. The second period yesterday, it was the same story. Carolina dictating play and forcing Danbury into their own end. It forces Danbury to make mistakes. We've already seen one mistake made by the Danbury defense. Carolina's counting on more, and, well, we're only 6:35 into the second period. It feels longer, but with all the penalties and whatnot, but Carolina's doing a great job right now on their forecheck. And another face-off win.
Listmeyer and Herron coming together. Listmeyer charging like a bull at Herron. Went headlong into the boards. Kasich picks it up. Listmeyer has to go back for his lumber, and he's late to rejoin the rush. Flipped up, and Kenny Garrett will paw it down and gets it up to Kasich. Enters in with Morrissey on his left. Ruiz cutting to the net, looking for the saucer pass for him. Mullen cuts it off, and he easily gloves it down. And now we get some pushing and shoving as Morrissey comes together with Blasko.
Yeah, guys just trying to get riled up right now. Trying to change the momentum of this game because Carolina continues to build. This is just Kasich. Get it towards the front of the net. Get an offensive zone draw. Try to flip the script right now because Carolina's got their foot on the gas and trying to juice things up. Shane Morrissey right in the middle of things for Danbury.
Well, Morrissey's a veteran. You know, he's played in the SPHL. He's played for a while. Situations like this, they're more of Morrissey's bread and butter as opposed to, say, Matty Kasich, who is a real nice guy, but not exactly known for his physical presence out on the ice. And that was Chad Herron, who had some words for Shane Morrissey. They'll both head back to the bench and stew about it until their next shift.
Kasich does have one fighting major to his name this season. That was a fight at the start of the third period against the Battle Creek Rumblebees. A staged bout, and of all players to have a staged bout at the beginning of a period, Kasich is an interesting choice.
And against Battle Creek? Why?
Just sending him at that point. It was a 10-2 game, and Battle Creek was trying to keep things respectable.
So you choose Kasich?
Hey, we're not down on the ice. We don't know what was said. Kasich perhaps just defending his honor. Banked off the boards, trying to spring Levesque. A good stick play by Vlasov prevents the breakout. And this one will go for an icing. It
was Vlasov with a help of the linesman. And Danbury, they had something going there, but it didn't work out this time. Keep going back to that well, because the more time you spend out of your defensive end, the more time you're giving Dylan Kelly time to rest, relax, and get back into things.
So the faceoff will come down towards Dylan Kelly. It will be on his left. Panachik going up against Ruiz, and Panachik with yet another faceoff win. It is automatic for number 12. Holding onto it, Henrici sending it towards the net wide. Now Mealy picks it up. He's got Levesque joining the rush. Mealy trying to outrace Panachik. A good back check as a Let's Go Hat-Tricks chant is up from the Hat-Tricks faithful. Bacour over to Vlasov, now up to Salak, and in come the Thunderbirds. 3-on-1 developing. A good back check by Bolin Porter breaks up the centering pass.
See how easy it was for Carolina to enter the zone. They got all their forwards past the forward lines for Danbury, so it was a 3-on-2 automatically. Good pass through the neutral zone.
No impediment as they cross that blue line. Bolin Porter and Kasich have Klinitsky hampering them from behind. Klinitsky wins the puck away. Terrific work by Klinitsky along the boards. Shots on goal in the period are currently 5-1 in favor of the Carolina Thunderbirds, but the one shot on goal that the Danbury Hat-Tricks have registered has found the back of the net.
Be nice if they could get another.
What did we say yesterday? Opportunistic, the word of the day. Capitalizing on what few opportunities you have against these Carolina Thunderbirds as the puck gets sent into the near side corner. Grebennikov is glued by Listmayer. On him like white on rice in that near side corner. Bolin Porter crosses his own blue line. He's being harassed from behind, and a good stick play by Krivolovic. Hat-Tricks unable to enter in cleanly. Mullen will settle it down now for Kenny, who takes a whack at it. Now Tim Hanlon taking his first shift for the Danbury Hat-Tricks out there on the ice, sends it into an area. He'll be skating with Morrissey and Shinkarik.
I like that decision by Mullen to keep the play going. Carolina's doing such a good job at getting the puck into Danbury's end. Why even bother with the face-off in your own?
Lifting the stick is Morrissey, but he blew a tire. 9.5 gone by in the second period. 3-1 is your score in favor of the Danbury Hat-Tricks, but the pressure has been all Carolina here in the second period, which is a repeat of the movie we saw yesterday. Here's Klinitsky, back pass now for Cangelosi. Rifles one into the padding of Dylan Kelly, who closes up the 5-hole.
He does well to close up that 5-hole too. That rebound comes loose. You have Heron coming all the way down. He's the only man in front of the net, so if that comes loose, he's got a very good chance to bury the rebound. Very good job by Kelly to hang on there.
Vlad Gavrik very deliberately making his way back out onto the ice to join the 5-man unit for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. It will be Cangelosi and Shinkarik in the face-off dot. A hard check by Heron prevents the Hat-Tricks from doing anything with their face-off win. A sharp angle try by Cangelosi, kicked out by Kelly. Now up the ice comes Dearson. He's got Shinkarik and Morrissey joining him. Shinkarik forced wide by Blaska, sends the puck out into no man's land, and the Thunderbirds will regroup. Here comes Heron with Cangelosi behind him. Cangelosi looks to the net, up into the Fairfield County Bank logo on the left chest of Dylan Kelly, and he holds as we have hit the 10-minute mark exactly. Well, just as we were mentioning, we wait and wait and wait for the media timeout. Now it comes directly on the 10-minute mark.
We jinxed ourselves, but on that last Danbury rush
Actually,
Yep.
Hold that thought, because after the play, the buzzer sounded, but there are 2 Hat-Tricks heading towards the penalty box.
One of them's going to be a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I believe that's going to be against Vlad Gavrik. Shane Morrissey finds himself in the box as well. We'll wait for the official call on that. But on that last Danbury offensive rush, I love the effort by Carter Shinkarik. If he holds back, if he's that third guy, he's an option. Instead, all 3 forwards were parallel across the same line. Not much you can do in the way of passing. And now Carolina, they're going on a 5-on-3 power play.
It's the last thing you want to do when Carolina's building up all this momentum and attacking all these shots on goal on Dylan Kelly. To take 2 penalties in one sequence on one play, that's the last thing you want to do in this situation.
Well, Carolina has themselves a power play goal already this evening, and they're trailing by 2, and they will get 2 chances.
We're not done with the penalties yet, boys.
I don't think so. No, as now Henrici will delayed. Seems like there's confusion. Now the faceoff's coming back the other way.
Yeah, where are we going here?
Well, the faceoff's going to be in Carolina's zone because the penalty comes right before the puck is dropped. So the most recent penalty is against Henrici. So now it becomes a Danbury offensive zone faceoff, even though it's a 4-on-3 power play for Carolina.
And you can see Andre Nietzsche is fired up on the Carolina bench. Billy McCreary, who is back in his usual post behind the Hat-Tricks bench as opposed to on it, getting an explanation from the officiating crew, as is Jay Kenny. And 3 different Thunderbirds are over talking to the officiating crew, Vlasov, Kenny, and Panachik. And Panachik is apoplectic.
What a crazy sequence, and what a messy score sheet we're going to have.
And now Steve Brown
No, Brown's just giving instructions. He's not going into the box.
But now the face-off, now the face-off is coming back down towards Dylan Kelly. And the crowd growing a bit restless as we try to sort things out.
So they took off Morrissey's, can't do that.
Carrot comes raining down from the top row here in Danbury Arena.
Oh, they've taken one of the penalties. Okay, so this is how they're going to figure it out. Morrissey is going to be in the box. Henrice's going to be in the box. They're going to call them coincidentals going both ways. So rather than a 4-on-3 power play, the only penalty that goes up on the board is Vlad Gavrick's 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike, and the face-off goes back down into the Danbury zone.
And now it's 4-on-3 here. Danbury's got to add one more. Carolina's got to add one more player.
Yeah, so it'll be 5-on-4, and
oh my goodness,
eventually we'll get this one figured on out.
And the crowd coming alive as it doesn't seem like there's very good community. Well, while we have a stoppage, it is a good reminder that you can keep up with all the mayhem, the badness, and the chicanery at Danbury Hat Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can subscribe for live game streams like this, official highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, and more.
Hey, hockey, imagine that.
As finally we are getting set for play, and a quick whistle and a hand pass being assessed.
it was the double media timeout, triple media timeout.
That's true. We were just saying that, the media timeout is finally hit. We wound up getting something 3 times as long. So we got that break after all.
And can we get a media timeout right now? That should be the media timeout.
Well, no, we just had the media timeout. They ran the horn at the 10-minute mark.
Oh, let's just stop trying before we fry our brains.
Always fun trying to figure this out.
The easiest people to confuse in the world are hockey people, as Vlasov's long shot gets redirected into the padding of Dylan Kelly.
Now, what do you mean the easiest people are? Explain yourself.
I'm just saying they're known for their talent on the ice, and that goes for their broadcasters as well. You have the extra battle of being senile, Zach.
Well, yeah. Well, when you hit my age, these things happen.
Well, plus you also have your newborn to deal with, so your brain is extra scrambled.
But I stayed in a hotel last night. First time in 2 months I didn't sleep at home. I slept.
Shinkarik enters in now short-handed, trying to get around Bakor. Bakor puts his legs together and stymies that puck. Here's Salak with Bakor and Panachik. Panachik trying to get around a defender, sends one wide. Trying to shoot through the legs of Cruz Listmeyer there. Salak will pick up the puck in the near side corner. He flings it out to the point. Here's Bakor, who slings it in turn to Vlasov. Pitching catch, back to Bakor. Seen and held all the way by Dylan Kelly with 1:11 to go in the penalty to Vlad Gavrick.
Now, we mentioned how good Danbury's power play has been in terms of moving the puck. That's a great sequence there for Carolina. They've been moving the puck very well on their power play, continuing to ride this little motivation, little momentum that they have right now. Now we have a little bit more flow to the game.
Minute 11 remaining on Carolina's power play. Here are the official calls. Henrice for Carolina gets called for delay of game. Morrissey with a rough. Gavrick with an unsportsmanlike conduct.
High slot, Klinetsky has Bolin Porter in front of him. Now dancing around, finds Haas, wires a wrist shot save. Kelly, rebound is covered up by the catching glove of DK. 55 seconds to go in the penalty.
A sharp glove by Dylan Kelly as the initial shot fell off of his chest right in front of him. And Viktor Grebennikov, if he's able to pull that back just another inch or two, he's got an open net to deposit the puck in.
Steve Brown will pitchfork that one up into the air, and it will go into the near side corner of the Carolina end as Klinitsky picks it up. Leaves it for Krivalovic, now up the left wing, and up come the Thunderbirds. Dearson, Bolin Porter, Brown, and Mealy, the 4-man penalty killer unit. Looking towards the net and steered out by Kelly and cleared.
Now that's a really good chance, too, because look how close he gets to Kelly there. And Kelly, again, just a good fight-off save there.
Up the ice once more, Krivalovic. Rivalovic has Haas and Heron out there with him on the forward lines. Holt and Klinitsky holding down the blue line. 10 seconds to go in the penalty to Vlad Gavrik before he's able to rejoin the fun. Here's Holt fielding, firing, redirected in front. Got to Dylan Kelly, and he was easily able to paddle that aside. Power play is officially over. Out of the box comes to Gavrik, trying to get it out in front of himself, and Holt on the back check knocks the puck away. Puck was just a bit too slow. 7:45 to go in the second period. Hat-Tricks leading 3-1. They kill off a 5-on-3 and a 5-on-4 here in the midway of the second period. Their penalty kill doing good work against the Carolina Thunderbirds, who are extremely potent offensively, but Carolina has been really taking it to them in terms of time on attack.
Yeah, look at the shots on goal now.
27.
Carolina's doubled what the Hat-Tricks have right now.
27-13 is the credit to Carolina. There's the Thunderbirds we all have come to know and love around the FPHL. Taken away and entering in, Martin squares to the net, blocked in front by a diving Steve Brown, and that gets a standing O.
Yeah, that's a huge block right there. Another turnover. Danbury having trouble getting out of their zone. The clearing attempt by Mealy not well enough. Brown goes all out and makes a huge block.
Now Brown once more back behind his end line. Cangelosi knocks the puck loose. Bolin Porter leads Kasich, and out come the Hat-Tricks. Kasich will dump it in. Hat-Tricks needed a change. Gavrik and Ruiz come over the boards. Holding is Bakur. Up to Grebenikov. He's got Panachik to his left, as is Salak. Salak has chewed up a lot of ice time. It feels like we're calling his name every other shift.
Well, the puck just seemingly follows him around the ice.
Here's Grebenikov on the backhander. That one's shot saved by Kelly. A rebound is knocked away by the paddle of the stick of Dylan Kelly.
Yeah, look at the swarm of orange shirts coming into Carolina. They're getting a good chance first time out, but then Danbury swarming in on the rebound.
Trying their best to clear out the damage in front, and we get a whistle, and that will finally spring a pair of players from the penalty box.
Yeah, man, he's so physical, and he knocked Vlad Gavrik over yesterday. He knocks him over again today. Very, very impressive.
Well, Casey, you really cursed us. You know why?
Media timeout time. Can't have a media timeout when there are penalties, so here we are. Well, now is as good a time as any to recognize the many different groups that we have here tonight for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. It is Auto Worker Appreciation Night. We have 15 different dealerships in and around the Danbury area represented here tonight. Most prominently, Colonial Subaru, who brought 25 of their members of their team. And we also have several different youth sports organizations as well, because it is Youth Sports Night as well. You've got 14 different teams and sports represented. It's terrific to pack the house as well as you can here in Danbury, but you also get the two extremes, a good time for adults, good time for the kids as well.
Absolutely, and I think one of the benefits having the youth sports groups here tonight, one lucky team is going to get a sponsorship in their upcoming season from the Danbury Hat-Tricks in the Danbury Arena. What better way to enjoy some hockey, and one team's going to go home a winner with a brand new sponsorship. So really, really good night here, and nice to see the local community come on out and the different groups of people.
I tell you what my favorite story is from the youth sports group. It's hard to pick a favorite because you don't want to slight any of the kids, but my personal favorite story is the Westchester Latino Express, who are here this evening, coached by Uno Caban over in the Brewster Ice Arena, a team of all kids of Hispanic descent playing hockey, some of them for the first time, and they won their first game against the Putnam Panthers.
Oh, that's awesome.
You love to see upstart teams like that, especially one that is doing their bit for inclusion and for representation. It's a terrific story. Off to the races now is Martin. He's in behind Gavrik, but doesn't really have much of a lane to the net. Gavrik will cut him off and use his long reach to steal the puck away. Here's Levesque now 2-on-2. He's got Bolin Porter alongside him. Bolin Porter in deep, has a pair of Thunderbirds now sandwiching him against the boards, and Cangelosi is able to take it away. 4:45 to go in the second period. Martin to Cangelosi off the skates of Mealy and in behind the end line. A lot of north-south action here, but the open space in front of the net just isn't there for Danbury yet. Carolina having a bit more ease getting there as Ruiz sends it out to open space, and too many Thunderbirds in the way. Carolina doing a terrific job of forcing Danbury behind the end line, along the wall, and getting the puck out.
You know, I want to go back to the groups that are here tonight, and Casey, you touched upon this. For how many kids, how many auto workers, is this their first hockey game that they've ever seen? You know, and fans are being made here tonight.
That is true, because if you're going to have off the post there on a sharp angle try by Bronner, and I actually might have caught the mask of Mullen as he shakes that off. But you are right. If this is your first hockey game this weekend, it doesn't get any better at this level. You're seeing the two top teams in the FPHL go toe-to-toe, shot for shot, and you're seeing a heck of a lot of skill displayed.
And it's an affordable night out. You know, would you rather have your first hockey game be here or pay $100 to sit in the nosebleeds at MSG?
Oh, well, different strokes, different flow. It depends on where you are, I guess. But nevertheless, not to say that we don't have our charm of MSG.
MSG, it has a nice roof. What else does it have?
Well, that's just coming from a sour Devils
The
fan.
memories.
Of course, if you want to join the action here at Danbury Arena, you can go to danburyhattricks.com/tickets. The Hattricks are away next weekend. Their next homestand will be against the Delaware Thunder on Valentine's Day weekend, the 14th and 15th. Faceoff will be to the left of Dylan Kelly. Panachik is brought down to the ice right off the draw, and the puck will be flittered out into the neutral zone, where Kenny will pursue. Kasich in aggressively in on the forecheck. He'll stop in front of Jake Mullen and back off as a long pass intended for Krivalovic goes behind him. He had his stick being lifted. They will say no icing as Gavrik gets there first. Krivalovic steals the puck away once more in the neutral zone. Boy, Carolina is seemingly pouncing on every single pass the Danbury Hattricks have. They're so good at reading where the play is going to go.
Well, this is what they did yesterday. They are soft in the offensive zone for Danbury. When Danbury's breaking out, they're just letting the Hattricks come right into them, and then they're taking the puck away.
A backhander is steered out by Kelly. That came off the stick of Connor Haas. A hard check in the near side corner. No whistle, as Vlad Gavrik might have gotten away with one there on Grebennikov.
They definitely got away with one.
Had his numbers facing him along the wall. Mealy intended for Kasich, knocked away from him. Redirected towards the Hattricks end, Mealy will hold. Turns around, looking now for Shinkarik. Up the ice to Kasich, has it in his skates, now enters in. Leaves it for Shinkarik, trying to one-hand it towards himself, shuffleboard style, but it's taken away. 2-on-2, 3-on-2 if they hurry. Here's Martin. Over to Klinitsky. Has some open space. Backhander. He scores! Klinitsky sneaks one under the pad of Dylan Kelly. It's 3-2.
The backhander is the hardest shot for a goaltender to deal with. You see why there. It's difficult for a goaltender to track off the stick. Kelly, as he's going down into the butterfly, the backhand comes. It actually goes off the inside of Dylan Kelly's right leg pad, and it finds its way through the 5-hole. Once again, we're seeing Carolina control the second period. They only trail by 1.
And both goals now have been generated through similar offensive sequences. They enter in the zone. There's a player trailing behind. They get the pass out to him. Nobody's able to pick him up because Carolina's attacking numbers. They always have 1 or 2 extra guys on those entries.
2-minute warning here in the second period, and it's now a 1-goal game as Ruiz is knocked off by Martin, and Martin finishes the job, and Ruiz is hurt. And we will get a whistle as Levesque now turns around, and Martin puts his hands up in defense of Levesque. It seems like he's trying to quell.
It's going to result in a penalty as Ruiz, it's his shoulder I would be worried about right now, as
he is crumpled onto the ice right now.
That is what he's holding.
And Levesque turned around. It looked like he wanted to grab at Martin, but Martin put his arms up and said, hey, it was an accident. Trying to...
It's an accident, sure, but Martin's finishing his check a good 20 feet away from where he initiates contact. That contact started at the top of the circle, and he runs Ruiz into the boards.
It will be a power play upcoming for the Danbury Hattricks, but they will likely be without one of their best power play weapons in Johnny Ruiz, as Dr. Lee Day will take a look out there on the ice on the training staff, and Vlad Gavrik is there to help his teammate to his feet. And Ruiz is really shaken up.
Well, it's good to see him moving both his arms, but Ruiz is going to go straight to the locker room And I doubt that I would be surprised. Never say never in hockey, but I would be surprised if we see Ruiz return to the game tonight. That did not look good.
And that's another in a long list of injuries for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Gordy Bonnell is missing from tonight on the forward lines. You also have Corey Anderson serving a suspension. On the blue line, you have some missing faces. Billy McCreary with an upper body injury. Aaron Atwell with an upper body injury. Martin Tuma with a lower body injury. And it's because of how shorthanded the Hat-Tricks are that they had to sign Colin Edwards, who has not seen the ice in quite some time. A 5-minute major is being assessed to Daniel Martin.
5-minute major for charging.
Charging is officially the call.
Charging requires 2 strides before you make contact. I think they were looking for boarding. Either way, it's a 5-minute major power play for Danbury. Danbury has connected on the power play already tonight, and this is the opportunity that they've needed to get some momentum back. There's only 1:47 remaining in the second period, so they'll begin the third period with a power play as well. Wouldn't be a bad idea to get a goal before you get the break.
It took only 4 seconds for them to score on the power play their last time out, that being a one-timer off the stick of Casper Dearson. But Dearson will be in the face-off dot against Panachik. Dearson wins it back to Morrissey. Morrissey to Kasich. Bronner sending the screen in front. Out to Shinkarik at the center of the blue line to Dearson at the left side. Has Morrissey at the right circle, Dearson at the left. Kasich at the bumper. Bronner in the corner. Dearson and Bronner down low, looking for the setup in front, blindly looking for Matthias Kasich, can't connect. And this is an opportunity for Danbury to provide some cushioning, as regardless of how many goals they score, the power play continues as that shot is turned out by Mullen and cleared out by the stick of Salak. Up to Kasich on the right wing. Kasich settles it down, has Salak bearing down on him, now spins away from him and finds a bit of open space as we have 1 minute remaining in the second period. Looking for Levesque in between the hash marks, picked off by Krivalovic and sent out into the neutral zone.
That has to be a better pass there by Matty Kasich. Can't simply turn it over like that.
Yeah, you saw his reaction go to the bench, slams his stick up against the bench door there. He's obviously frustrated with the play.
Gavrik behind his own net, has Bolin Porter out there with him, as well as Morrissey, Levesque, and Shinkarik. Krivalovic is with Haas on the penalty kill unit, as well as Holt and Vlasov. 30 seconds to go in the frame. Levesque along the wall to Bolin Porter. Morrissey is also behind the net. They find him. Gavrik at the near side circle. Shinkarik is in the high slot. If they look for him, they find him. Has Levesque over at the right circle. Back pass behind him. Levesque will keep it around the perimeter. 15 seconds to go. Looking for the setup in front. Can't connect with Bolin Porter, and it will be cleared. Dylan Kelly, if he has a pass up on the left wing, he's got Gavrik open, but he will instead leave it for Shinkarik. He will not risk the home run pass, and that will do it for the second period. The Hat-Tricks will have 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the power play heading into the third period. And we've reached the second intermission with the Hat-Tricks clinging to a 1-goal lead. Carolina looking to come back for the second time this weekend. And that will just about do it. We'll be back once the ice is cut and the festivities have concluded. You're watching Danbury Hat-Tricks hockey on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Zach McGinnis and Jack O'Mara. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for live coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel as the Hat Tricks defend a 3-2 lead against the Carolina Thunderbirds heading into the final frame. But before we get there, it's time for the FPHL scoreboard. Here's Zach McGinnis.
Thanks, Casey. Out in Illinois, at the end of the first period of play, the Delaware Thunder and Danville Dashers have skated to a 0-0 tie. Meanwhile, in New York, the Elmira Enforcers a 3-1 lead over the Columbus River Dragons through 2 periods of play. The Port Huron Prowlers with 3 goals in the second period. They have a 4-1 lead over the Mentor Icebreakers. And Casey, unfortunately, bad news out of Watertown. The Wolves have a 3-1 lead over the Battle Creek Rumblebees.
Oh, darn.
I know, but right here in Danbury, it's a 3-2 game. Carolina with a pair of goals in the second period after Casper Dearson with a power play goal just a minute into the period made it 3-0. And now we'll have a short delay as they let the ice set. And Danbury will have a major power play, another 3 minutes and 12 seconds remaining on that man advantage.
And Jack, this power play is the most important one to date. Yes, the Hat Tricks have 2 power play goals this evening. They had 2 yesterday, but this power play is an extended chance for you to provide some much-needed cushioning against a Carolina team that is simply too tenacious for this Danbury defense to handle.
Absolutely. They're going to continue to build on shots. We know that. So what does Danbury have to do? They have to take advantage. They score a goal. They score 2 goals. That power play time stays up on the board because of the major penalty. Again, it's a very similar narrative to yesterday. Danbury out to the lead, 3-0. Carolina starts to crawl back in. A little bit of a lower score tonight. But I think the next goal in this game, much like last night when we had it was 6-4, Carolina made it 6-5. This is the same point, I think, in the game. The next goal is going to be huge towards the output because if Carolina gets one, they get one quickly. I don't know if Danbury's going to be able to hold them off through the overtime period again.
The Hat Tricks will be starting a 5-forward unit. They will have Dearson, Kasich, and Bronner up front with Morrissey and Shinkarik patrolling the blue line. Countering them, taking the opening faceoff will be Panachik. He's got Salak to his left. Stan Vlasov, who has chewed up a lot of defensive minutes, will have out with him Stanislav Bakur to start. Faceoff is won by Panachik, and Salak is able to get it back to Vlasov, who will dump it down the length of the ice, where Carter Shinkarik will corral. Shinkarik has himself 4 goals on the week so far. Vlasov blows a tire behind the end line, but Carolina is still able to send it out to the blue line. Shinkarik takes a swing at it and is able to whack it down to himself to prevent it from going down the full 200. Now here's Morrissey, has to switch places with his own man Dearson. Now directs it over towards Bronner, who leaves it for Dearson. Entering in on Bakur. Dearson cutting to the net. Dearson off the cage of Mullen. Might have caught Mullen in the throat.
That's a tough spot, too, for the goaltender. Mullen doing a good job. He's had to use his head a couple times tonight.
Morrissey takes it away as Salak is in deep on the forecheck. He's got Krivalovic out there with him. And Salak will go off for a change. As he comes back a bit hobbled, he was wincing a bit as he meandered his way back to the bench. Gavrik will leave it for Steve Mealy. Mealy has not been able to find the stat sheet as of yet this evening. Krivalovic takes the puck away, and Klinitsky has it roll off of the edge of his stick. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the major penalty. Bolin Porter met by Krivalovic, and Krivalovic is able to pitchfork it up into the air, and Mealy is forced to retreat. A bit of restlessness growing in the crowd in the early goings of the third period as Johnny Ruiz out there taking a shift for the Hat Tricks, his first shift since getting shaken up in that final minute of the second period.
I am shocked that he's out there. Ruiz, it clearly looked like he wasn't going to return to the game. He's a hockey player.
He's out there, and he is favoring his leg a little bit. We'll keep an eye on how much he is used over the course of the third period. As the puck is dumped back in off the end boards, Mealy evades a check from Heron. Now has it knocked away from Cangelosi. Such terrific teamwork from Carolina. They have multiple forecheckers attacking the puck carrier at all times. It makes them so difficult to break out against, even when up a man.
It doesn't even seem like they're up a man right now. What neutral zone play right now for Carolina. They're matching well. They're taking away passing lanes. It's as if Danbury does not have the man advantage.
Well, the only luxury Danbury has really had is the ability to start the play from their own end. They just haven't been able to finish it as of yet. Kasich now in deep in the near side corner. Shinkarik loses the handle on the puck. And the first zone entry of the period is stymied. Now entering in on the left side is Kasich. Kasich looks to the net. That one is bobbled for a moment by Mullen as Mullen lost his footing, had to go diving headlong on that left shoulder. 20 seconds remaining in the major penalty. Here comes Salak entering in 2-on-1 with Panachik, and Kasich loses his lumber but is able to break up the play. Now Shinkarik the other way, a 3-on-2 developing if they hurry. Shinkarik holds on to the puck, has it go off of a defensive stick. 5 seconds to go in the major. Off the back of Bolin Porter, taken by Morrissey, has it on his backhand. That will do it for the power play. Morrissey looking to the front of the net, Bolin Porter off the defensive stick of Vlasov, taken away once more. Dearson feeds Brown for a one-timer, kicked out with the toe of the right leg. Another turnaround try. That one's batted out of the air by Mullen. Tricks playing the perimeter of the zone. Brown takes a step in. Gets it down low to Levesque, who is run up against the boards by Vlasov. Picked up by Salak, who now leads Martin. Martin trying to get around the big body of Listmayer. He runs him off the puck, ties him up for a moment, and now Levesque on the left wing from behind the red line will dump it in deep. Mullen leaves it for Klinitsky. Ruiz takes it away, calling for it in front, Levesque. And Ruiz just flings it behind the end line. Now Ruiz has a man at the point, and Kenny Garrett, he finds him. Garrett looking to the net, blocked in front easily by Grebennikov, and off goes Carolina. Krivalovic making his way towards the net. Grebennikov run into the boards by Garrett. Out to the point. Klinitsky with a hard shot off the glass. Levesque picking up ahead of steam once more. A long wrist shot is eaten up by Mullen, and he holds. 4 minutes, 26 seconds gone by in the third.
Well, Carolina, I mean, what more can you say about their penalty kill? That was fantastic.
Absolutely, and then Danbury finally got into the zone, and you have to like what you see there. Just cycling it down low, keeping everything rotating. You kill off some time there. Just chips away from the clock on the scoreboard, and now you have another offensive zone draw. So, yes, you don't convert on the power play, but you're getting quality possession time right now, which is important.
Dan Martin back out on the ice for Carolina. He'll step in to take this faceoff. I wonder if he'll have to answer the bell at some point for that hit on Johnny Ruiz.
Well, if nothing else, I'm sure the Danbury Hat-Tricks should be more focused on protecting their one-goal lead. As much as you would like retribution, you still have to deal with the best offense in the FPHL coming at you, as there's a turnaround wrist shot off the stick of Cangelosi that gets covered by Dylan Kelly, and now Dylan Kelly talking a bit to the officiating crew. Kelly gives an appreciative tap with his paddle to the legs of the linesman. The faceoff will come out to his right. Shinkarik against Cangelosi. Cangelosi has Holt in the high slot if they can win it back to him. And instead it is won by Shinkarik. And there's an example, guys, of the plays off the faceoff for Carolina. Immediately, even if they lose the draw, they have someone charging into the corner to make sure that Danbury doesn't have any time to make a decision with the puck and try to escape. Back in they come. Cangelosi, long slap shot, easily turned out by Kelly. Bronner's exit attempt goes off of the midsection of Martin. Now Shinkarik will pick it up and turn around. Across the way, he's got Morrissey. It goes off of Carolina stick and down towards the end of the zone. Colin Edwards taking his first shift since the first period and is upended. Welcome back to the ice, kid. Now Edwards turns around, has it on his stick, loses the handle on it. Salak will hold.
Danbury was expecting a whistle for offsides there, but it was Carolina who played it back into their own end.
Knocked away by Kasich. It's in the skates of a Carolina player, and they will get a stoppage for an offsides. Unsure if Carolina even played that puck for it to be deemed an offsides. It looked like Danbury had possession.
Neighborhood play, you know, double plays in baseball. Yeah, sure, calling an offsides. Why not?
Listmayer forced back behind his own net, finds Vlad Gavrik, who will be unable to connect with the stick of Kendall Bolin Porter, and this will go all the way down the length of the ice for an icing, and we will do it from the defensive zone for Danbury.
So you see this game has been much more tightly wound between the two sides. Obviously, the offensive surge that we saw last night has been stymied by both of these teams, much more careful with the puck, especially in their own zones, and making sure everything stays to the outside. Carolina's done that very well over the last period plus, and Danbury, they've been doing that pretty much all game, aside from a couple of odd man rushes.
Klinetsky to the net, into the breadbasket of Dylan Kelly. Dylan Kelly has been doing a much better job in the third period here tonight as opposed to the third period last night of not allowing too many second chances off his chest.
He's controlling his rebounds, whether that means he's holding on to the puck or simply directing them into a corner where it's safe. Last game we saw him leaving them, well, Casey, as you call it, down Royal Road, but right in front of the net.
Levesque looking for Ruiz. It goes through the wickets of Klinitsky and into the corner. Ruiz with a sharp angle try goes well wide. Gavrik will hold the line and backhand it down low for Levesque. Has Kenny on him. Haas providing support for Carolina. Levesque trying to dig it out of the skates of Kenny, of Haas, but a good job. And Haas is brought down from behind, and Nicola Levesque will be whistled for the trip, and that'll be a power play upcoming for Carolina.
Well, Levesque's not happy about it, but that's, again, a pretty cut and dry call right there. So
Yes,
So Carolina will go back onto the power play. It's going to be a slash against Levesque as opposed to a trip. Either way, 2 minutes in the box. And Carolina, well, after killing off the major power play to begin this period, they have an opportunity to tie it here.
They will have out Cangelosi with Heron and Martin, Blaska and Holt as the five-man power play unit. Shinkarik and Morrissey, the penalty kill forwards with Brown and Liskmeyer. Martin from his knees out to the point to Blaska. Has Shinkarik bearing down on him. Blaska will flip it ahead to Martin. Martin holds. Now glides his way out towards the slot. Wires it to Blaska. Pitch and catch at the high blue line. Two Carolina Thunderbirds taking away Dylan Kelly's eyes. Blaska shot through traffic, blocker to side. Now fielded and out once more to the point, Blaska. Blaska teeing up a wrist shot that's blocked in front. Kelly might have gotten a piece of it, and Kelly pounces on the puck from behind his net. Heron was falling down on top of him.
It's such a smart play by Dylan Kelly for him to just see that puck rolling around back there, and he says, hey, I can be the first one on top of that. Jump on it before anybody else can. Get the stoppage of play and an important shift change.
Well, you mentioned jumping on it. Chad Heron's doing Yowman work in front of that net. On the second to last shot by C.J. Blaska, it goes wide, but Heron's the first one there. He beats Shinkarik to the puck, even though Shinkarik was initially closer.
And now a chance out in front for Cangelosi and sends it just wide. Cangelosi was in the right spot, just couldn't find the 6x4 opening. Planting himself in the blue paint out in front of Dylan Kelly. Minute 10 to go in the power play. Blaska for Martin. This unit has been out there for the full 50 seconds so far. 7.5 gone by in the third period. Time the enemy of the Carolina Thunderbirds as they seek to even up the score. Martin, stick fails him for a moment. His stick is broken, and are they calling it for playing the puck with a broken stick? I believe they are.
You're right, Casey, because Martin, it's a weird break on the stick. It's not even halfway down the shaft, closer to the knob of the stick. He plays the puck once, that's where his stick breaks. He tries to hit it again, and the referee's all over Jay Martin, and he finds himself back into the, or check that, Dan Martin, and he finds himself back in the penalty box. He gets a fresh twig, courtesy of Joe Cangelosi. Well, Danbury lucks out, and we'll skate four aside for about a minute.
It's such a split-second decision, too, for Martin whether or not he's going to play that puck, because he has a quick decision to make. Do I whack it ahead? The puck is sitting in my skates. I can't just stand here.
You got to kick it at that point.
You got to kick it.
Yep.
It's just at that point, pure impulse takes over. So it'll be 4-on-4 for 40 seconds. Now Mealy taking a step in with Ruiz on the back door. Ruiz has it on his forehand, trying to tuck it in, and Mullen spread eagle on the goal line, keeps it out. Ruiz fighting for the puck and chips it out into open space where Shinkarik will pursue. What a terrific save by Jake Mullen.
Mullen down and out, desperation only there. Ruiz, he had a chance to shoot the puck. Instead, he elected to stick handle. He wanted to try and get around the body of Mullen, but Mullen just starfishing out there, manages to keep everything out.
2 seconds and one. It is officially a power play for the Danbury Hat Tricks. They will have a minute 10 to work with while up a man. It is taken away by Haas, and he skies it up into the air, and it will make its way back towards the Hat Tricks bench. Krivalovic trying to force Dierson back towards his end boards. Dierson falling down to the ice, loses the handle on the puck. Vlad Gavrik will have to recuperate. Dierson's stick is broken on the play, so he will have to go off towards the bench. Gavrik with some open space in front of him. He switches places with Morrissey, who starts to lead the charge. He's got Bronner with him. Morrissey hits it off the end boards. 35 seconds to go in the man advantage. Morrissey takes a hard check in the corner from Kenny. Out to Dierson with a fresh twig. To Morrissey down low. Calling for it is Ruiz at the near side circle. They play it behind the net to Bronner. Looking in front for Ruiz. Past him. Now Dierson with a sharp angle try. Looking for Bronner in front. Couldn't redirect it. Hat Tricks trying to find some bodies in front of Mullen. 10 seconds to go in the power play.
Better shift there for Danbury on the power play, but again, everything is kept to the side. Carolina not allowing anything in between the hash marks, really, since we saw that Matthias Kasich goal on the power play where he was sitting right in between the circles. Nothing has gone their way in terms of Danbury getting in between their defenders.
We've officially reached the halfway point of the final frame. As Kasich kicking it over to Bolin Porter, as Kasich's lumber failed him, as now Bolin Porter trying to stuff it at the far side post, couldn't get a shot off. There's a lot of money strewn out on the ice right now as there are 3 different broken sticks.
Yeah, these sticks aren't cheap either. Back in my day, we had the wooden sticks. You can get them for $12 a pop.
Did they even have curves?
Sometimes.
Here's Morrissey backhanding it up towards the neutral zone. Martin gloves it down.
And Mr. Hull taught us how to make that curve.
Listmeyer will kill some seconds, and Carolina will allow the Hat Tricks to set up shop. Shinkarik can't touch the puck. It would have been an offside, so they cough up possession. Now here's Panachik. Has Heron to his right. Panachik squares to the net, and that was blocked in front by the long legs of Gavrik. Now out to Bacour. Winds and fires. Slap shot saved by Kelly. Picking it up at the near side point is Vlasov as he holds the blue line. He'll send that one down low off the stick of Salak. Turning around is Henrici. Henrici in between the hash marks. Shot pinballs off of Panachik's body and wide of the net. 8:45 to go in regulation. The Hat Tricks holding on to a 1-goal lead. Vlasov from his own end. Hat Tricks go off for a 5-man change. Here's Henrici looking for Panachik. Has it hop off his stick, and Bronner will take it by the Hat Tricks bench. Levesque will bat it down. They will deem it not a high stick as it was just below his shoulders.
Watch what Carolina does here. Mealy's going to stop behind the Danbury bench. Carolina, they're real soft. Now Krivalovic is going to go down. He'll provide a little pressure, but look at this. Look at how Carolina, they're just waiting for Danbury to mess up another pass.
And why not? It's happened pretty much routinely all evening. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as Ruiz sends it towards the net and Mullen steers it aside. He swats at it with his catching glove. Under 8 minutes to go in regulation time. Up comes Haas. He's got Grabenikov to his right, finds him, now looking for Krivalovic, and that's just out of his reach. Krivalovic winds and fires, blocked in front by Brown, now picked up by Levesque. The Hat Tricks trying to go off for a change. Levesque is in all alone, so he'll dump it in, and he himself will make his way towards Billy McCreary and company.
That's a great play in the defensive zone by Ruiz. He just stops skating and puts his stick down, and then eventually the block shot by Steve Brown. Couple of good plays by guys working hard defensively.
Bolin Porter flings it out to Kasich, taking a step in, firing, blocked in front by Martin, and it goes up into the netting, and we have reached the media timeout with 7:19 to go in the final frame. So a little bit of pressure being provided by Danbury, but it is certainly not the shooting gallery that we saw last night. Even still, Jack, Dylan Kelly has been under siege all evening. He has stopped, to this point, 39 of 41 shots.
And it's what's most impressive is this is a 4-game weekend for the Danbury Hat Tricks. He doesn't look tired. He doesn't look in any way, shape, or form like he's played now for his 3rd straight game. He looks strong. He looks confident. He looks poised. And when we saw Dylan Kelly return from the SPHL, he didn't have that flair, that fanatic power of what he showed. He's got that back now. I think last night in the shootout, that helped him big time.
I believe the word you're looking for is swagger. He's got his swagger back.
Well, he doesn't really have a choice this weekend.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised that Nick Nieder did not get the start up in Watertown. You figure he might have been in line for one with Carolina in town. Instead, now he's up in the ECHL. So you've got goaltending coach Matt Voidy on the bench. He's a good goalie, but
Well, he's certainly no slouch, but he would admit that it's been a while since he's been in the game. He's a better instructor. He has coached at UMass Amherst. He's coached at several different prep schools, and of course he's got Voidy Goaltending, the academy that has featured several different partnerships and tutelage from NHL goalies like Scott Darling and John Gillies and Corey Schneider. So Matt Voidy's got an impressive goaltending resume.
nice little trivia on Scott Darling. He's the only player who's played in both the NHL and the SPHL.
That is true. That was part of his Players Tribune piece as we get a man brought down behind the play, and that will be a penalty. And it will be a slash being assessed against Danbury.
It is going against Danbury. It's Casper Dearson.
Yes.
I don't know how you can call it a slash when it's Dearson hits the Carolina player behind him. Now, if he's confusing his slashing with his interference, okay, that I can buy, but Dearson's not a happy camper.
You're not letting the referees off the mat here. You seem to be correcting every assessment that they have.
Listen, I know the rule book. They know the rule book. I'm not judging them, but
It seems like it.
I'm just offering my opinion.
And you should have seen Casper Dearson's reaction in the penalty box. He had chucked his stick. You got to check that, make sure that one's not broken.
So it'll be 2-minute power play for Carolina. They have 6:45 to go in regulation time. They're still looking to even up the score. A soccer kick from Steve Mealy will send it all the way back down to the Carolina end.
Yeah, he's shaking his foot a little bit.
Yeah, that can sting a little bit.
That went square off the boot. Vlasov leads the charge. Henrici leaves it for Salak. Salak has Panacek making his way towards the net. Up into the air, leaping to keep it into the zone is Bakor. What an athletic play. Sends it to the net and covered up by Kelly. What an athletic play by Bakor. And now we have some extracurriculars.
Yeah, things are getting feisty down low.
A sense of desperation perhaps taking hold on Carolina as Salak trying to force the puck into the net, and a good physical presence in front. Salak is a big body, taking the eyes away of Dylan Kelly.
Yeah, we've seen Henrici be an issue too in front of the net. Guys just getting into traffic, good deflection there, but again, Dylan Kelly just being able to track that through, even with the little redirection, makes the save, and then there's no rebound.
Panacek was voicing his displeasure with the officiating crew. He'll do a twirl and make his way into the face-off dot, and he'll win it. Back to Vlasov.
He wanted the face-off on the other side of the ice.
Vlasov has Bakor to his right, Panacek to his left. Feeds Vlasov for a one-timer, kicked out by Kelly. Lively bounce finds its way to the far side corner. 1:10 to go in the power play, 6 minutes to go in regulation time. Picked up by Bolin Porter. He's got Levesque and Gavrik over to his left. Short-handed, Gavrik will make his way into the attacking zone. Gavrik cuts across the slot, has a pair of Thunderbirds around him, and it will be knocked off his stick by Bakor. Bakor will back pass it to Vlasov, and the hat-tricks will go off for a change, and Vlasov will very slowly and deliberately hold on to it at his own end. Here's Haas with Grebenikov behind him. Spins away from Steve Brown, holds at the point. Krivolovic directing traffic over to Klinitsky. Instead, he finds its way to him. Now back out to Klinitsky at the high slot. 35 seconds to go in the man advantage. Krivolovic winds and fires a shot from the high slot. Klinitsky seen and held by Kelly. 29 to go in the power play, 5:19 in regulation.
Danbury got lucky with that change. Vlasov had an option, but Danbury, they were changing 3 of their players. Carolina used that time to take a change as well. We've already seen Carolina take advantage of a bad Danbury change earlier in the second period.
And it related to a goal too, and right now Carolina just working it back and forth in between the 2-point players, and that's just opening up so much space above the circles. Those slappers coming in. Kelly's been able to track them down. I think that last one got him in the bottom of the mask, the chin area. The way he reacted, kind of shook his head afterwards. Looked like that's where it hit him.
Winding and firing is Klinitsky, and it makes its way towards Kelly, and he'll jump on the trickling puck.
Fans, before you leave tonight,
19 ticks of the clock before we are able to get back to 5-on-5 action, and Casper Dearson rejoins play. Won by the Tricks, and Mealy will send it down the length of the ice. Mullen will hold. Krivolovic now from behind his net. Up the left wing, looking for Haas, finds him. Haas has it on his tape, trying to nutmeg Gavrik, but he comes away with the puck. And Gavrik will send it out into the neutral zone, and that will do it for the power play. Score still holds at 3-2 in favor of Danbury. They have led for the entirety of the game. Here's Dearson entering in on the left side. Back to Listmayer at the point. He'll wrap it around roulette style, but it will be stopped behind the net. Flipped towards the net, gloved down by Mullen, and he will hold. He's got Morrissey in front of him and really no one else, so he will freeze it.
Yeah, if you're Danbury, why not? 4:18 to go in regulation time. You're up by 1. Might as well take that offensive zone face-off. And Jack, in the junior game we saw, if you send it in on goal, sometimes interesting things happen.
I'm seeing so many similarities. I feel like I'm watching the same game.
For those of you who did not tune into the Danbury Colonials game prior to this one, defenseman Ryan Wojciechowski with a bouncing goal from his own blue line. Not bad.
A sort of Vesa Toskala kind of nightmare for a goaltender.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah. I also remember Bernier for the Maple Leafs allowed one like that as well a couple of years ago to Derek Stepan at MSG. Here's a shot that rings off the crossbar. That was off the stick of Heron, and Heron looks skyward. .345 to go in regulation time. Fire wagon change for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Carolina will also hold, and Vlasov looking for the home run pass. It hops off the stick of Henrici.
See, I don't like that play because it's so hot. You have to catch that and handle it, and it's almost impossible, especially with a body right next to you like that. It's just a really tough hot pass to handle, and luckily Carolina gets away with it, and now they have an icing, so offensive zone draw, it ends up paying off, but you have to be careful with those fire line passes that you just saw.
Oh, it's an icing against Danbury, and they don't have a full line out there. It's Shinkarik along with Morrissey and Phil Bronner up there. I expect them to try and dump it and finish up the line change.
Won by the Carolina Thunderbirds. Bronner will bat it out of the air like flippin' rippin' baseball, and they'll send it out from the hip out to the neutral zone. And they will deem it offsides, and Panachik is furious, slamming his stick onto the ice multiple times.
He's hearing it from the crowd as well.
We got a talking to, and Panachik's got to be careful because even if he does have a rightful gripe, which is entirely plausible, you can't run the risk of getting an unsportsmanlike at this stage of the game.
Not with 3:15 left and your team down by 1.
Klinitsky will send it down towards Kelly, and he'll hold, and it'll be an offensive zone draw for the Thunderbirds.
Well, if Danbury's going to win a face-off, now's a great time to do it. 3:10 remaining in regulation, and Casey, Jack, we've spoken so often about how Carolina has been so good in the face-off circle so far tonight, and really all this weekend.
And Coach McCreary actually has a couple guys who can take the face-off just in case.
Klinitsky, Krivolovic feeds it out to the slot. Grebennikov wires it wide. A lot of wide shots as well because the shots on goal, as Dearson wins the race, no icing. Not only do the Thunderbirds have 47 shots on goal, but think of how many shots have been blocked and have been sent wide. And their Corsi and Fenwick ratings must be off the chart.
I don't believe in those advanced stats anyway.
I mean, if anyone, you should put some stock into them because it certainly has been an indication of how good Carolina has been on the puck this weekend.
Well, Carolina's been fantastic on the puck. I don't think that's in doubt, but they still trail by 1 right now.
For now. They were able to come back from down 4 last night, so never say never. 2:25 on the clock is still plenty of time for the top team in the FPHL. Klinitsky met at the blue line by Gavrik, and it'll be whacked back out into the neutral zone where Holt will retrieve. Off the legs of Shinkarik, picked up by Cangelosi. Has Martin with him. Martin has it sent back out into the neutral zone. Shinkarik will turn around and stop short and will backhand it in. The Hat-Tricks trying to shorten up their shifts and keep fresh legs out there. as they'll go off for another change. Kasich out with Ruiz and Morrissey. Up the right wing, looking for Herron. As Cangelosi and Martin out there with him on the forward lines for Carolina. 1:45. We'll keep an eye on Jake Mullen. Here's Mealy at his own blue line. Up to Kasich on the right wing. 1:35 to go in regulation time. Carolina needs an offensive zone entry so they can vacate their net and get the extra skater. Out to Blaska. Carolina taking their sweet time holding it in their offensive zone. They're having difficulty breaking out. This is really the first time all game we've seen Carolina with some difficulty. Here's Mealy sending it out towards the blue line. Kept in by Martin. Martin sends it into the far side corner. Mullen still not out of his net.
He can't leave.
Dearson holds at the red line. Glides to his left, has the lock in front of him. He'll backhand this up into the air and into the far side corner it goes. Final minute of regulation time, and the puck will be played by a high stick. And the faceoff will be in Carolina's end, which is not what they need whatsoever.
Jake Mullen now motioning towards the Carolina bench. He wants to know when he's supposed to go, as he has been firmly planted in his own blue paint. But Jack, like you said, Carolina for the first time hasn't been able to get into Danbury's zone. They keep an eye check at the blue line. It's forcing Danbury's defense to not play as high up on the ice.
Faceoff is tied up in the far side corner. Mere seconds on the clock now. Here's Nikola Levesque. Takes a hit from behind the net from Vlasov. Carolina trying desperately to dig it out. It's kept in at the blue line by Bronner. He'll wire it back in down low. Section 102 on their feet as Nikola Levesque ties it up behind the end line. He's got Shinkarik providing support. Now it pops out to Henrici. Up the left wing it goes. Mullen waiting, unable to go back to the bench just yet. Bronner takes it away. Now Vlasov crosses the way. Winding and sending it into the zone. 25 seconds. Mullen still not out. Keeping it in is Salak. Now Mullen will make his way to the bench. But he'll stop short and go back to field the puck. Now he'll make his way over to the bench. Count the number of times we've seen that on one hand. 10 seconds to go. Gavrik behind his end line. Has it on his backhand. He tries to hold it against the boards. 3 seconds to go. Gavrik pins it against the kick plate. That'll do it! The Danbury hat tricks in a nail-biting finish. Hold on to beat the Carolina Thunderbirds 3-2.
Oh, they like to give their fans here in Danbury a bit of a cardiac arrest. These games have not been easy. They shouldn't be expected to be easy against the Carolina Thunderbirds, but that's 2 wins in a row over the best team in the league.
Hey, you get the job done. Again, this isn't one where you're going to see 8 goals from Danbury, 7 from Carolina. Both teams were locked down in their own zones. We saw a ton of shots on goal again from Carolina, not nearly as much as last night, but again, they still found ways to pepper Dylan Kelly, and he didn't waver in any way, shape, or form tonight. Danbury took advantage of their hot first period like they did yesterday. They rode that all the way through, and I think that they were strong. And look at who gets to hoist the barrel.
46 saves on 48 shots for Dylan Kelly. Dylan Kelly, who has been nothing short of spectacular so far this weekend, and his workload is not done yet, as he will have his 4th start in 4 games tomorrow night against these same Carolina Thunderbirds. And what a weekend it's been for Dylan Kelly, who now over the course of 2 games has stopped over 100 shots against these Carolina Thunderbirds. What a performance from number 29.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic tonight. And again, this is going to be one of the toughest tests of the season for Danbury because it's 3 games against the defending champs, against the league best team, and they are still the one team that's had Carolina's number all season long. As Dylan Kelly is going to be the 3rd star of the night. He was absolutely fantastic again for Danbury. He's got to do one more.
Well, Dylan Kelly will earn the 3rd star, and with his blocker on his hand, wasn't quite able to get it up into the rafters.
Oh.
Still struggling.
That's a tough angle.
Casper Dearson will skate out as the 2nd star. What a weekend it's been for Dearson. Already the hero, had the game-winning goal tonight and had the game-winning shootout goal last night. Carter Shinkarik will skate out as the number 1 star, and You'd be hard-pressed to find a better player in black and orange so far this weekend than that man right there.
Absolutely. His goal is the difference maker in this game. The third one at the time, it just felt like more salt in the wound. And then Carolina, they built up the comeback. You know, they were 3 down in this one. They were 4 down yesterday. They built up a comeback yesterday. They just fell short in this one. But Carter Shinkarik, another crucial goal for the Danbury Hat-Tricks.
Well, it's not only the scoring that Shinkarik's doing, it's the hustle. It's the hard work that's out there. How many times have we seen Shinkarik on the back check breaking up plays? How many times have we seen him in the neutral zone? Seemingly the only one in the neutral zone who's had any success against Carolina. Carolina has been able to really victimize Danbury in the neutral zone. But because of guys like Carter Shinkarik, Danbury still finds a way to win.
Well, that will just about do it here from Danbury Arena. We want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight on the Danbury Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. For all of us here in the broadcast booth, for my partners, Zach McGinnis and Jack O'Mara, I'm Casey Bryant saying thank you and good night.